Hello there, this is the semifinals of Edison World Championship Qualifier 8. My opponent is Dankarmeddragon, who is playing Blackwings. From the replays, this is what I know about his list. So it's a pretty standard Blackwing deck with 19 monsters, including 2 value. What I don't know is 3 of these slots, probably spell or trap cards. About the spells, we see only 4 of them at this point. And the traps are pretty much standard. At this point I thought that maybe some other spells were missing, like Brain Control or maybe even Book of Moon. Those cards, those are the cards I saw after game 1, so potentially side deck. One interesting thing is 2 Dust Tornado in the main, probably with the no Starlight Road. This was quite usual in this tournament, 1 or 2 Dust Tornado in the main deck with no Starlight Road. Actually, the list that I found out after the tournament was over is a little bit more particular, because those missing cards were actually 3rd Prison, 2nd Oppression and 3rd Dust Tornado, so those were actually the 4 spell cards. So Brain Control is in the side deck and there is no Allure of Darkness. This is very particular, and so I also expect a pretty standard side deck actually. Let's see game 1, what happens. So he's going to start. Let's see. He set 2 cards and he's probably not running Yatagaras, I mean Legacy. 2 cards, even it's a risky move or there is a dash shoot. Risky move, I mean like 2 not chainable cards, so it is a dash shoot, so it's even more standard. This is not a good one, but here the choice is quite obvious, because it will have to be Caius, as with the Swap Frog and Substi I can start doing frog combos. I also have Double Enemy, which is very bad for my opponent in case they want to summon something. I also have Caius, but still, even if Caius is shuffled back, with Enemy Controller I can both, or Enemy Controller plus Substi, next turn, I can both destroy, I mean tribute 1 of my opponent monster and try to do the lock. Of course, now that my opponent has seen this card, if they have Royal Oppression, they are going to set it next turn. Also, they've seen I don't have EV Storm, so if I'm going to draw it next turn, either I am going to draw it next turn or it's not going to be in my hand. So I think that now as Swap Frog it's pretty standard to do. I mean, Loop Frog would enable my opponent's Sirocco and moves like Sirocco, Bora, or even Gale and stuff like that, so that they build a board, and then I don't even have a Tribune Frog, so that would be really a bad move at this point. So okay, I didn't expect anything from any response from this attack. So let's see what they're going to do. They didn't summon any monster previous turn, but as they have dash shoot, it's I mean quite common. Also they know the deck I'm playing, so they know that they were just risking 1000 damage with Swap Frog, so now they can choose what monster to summon. Bora is a kind of a probe in this situation. I mean, they send it in advance to see if something happens. At this point, they know that I don't have any response, but with enemy controller substi, for example, they want me to destroy this one, I mean, to tribute this one, and then maybe a Blizzard or stuff like that. One interesting thing that I noticed about this player from his replays is that he uses Black Whirlwind in a particular way. Many players just use it as they see it, especially if there is a Shura, but he doesn't, from what I've seen, from what I remember. Mostly because I think they want the opponent to use all their resources on the first monsters that are summoned, like Bora and even Shura, so that the bottomless trap pole, torrential tribute, or even the MST are on other cards. So when they actually use the Whirlwind, it's gonna resolve with effect that turn, and maybe even the next one, because usually, from what I can see, I'm a frog player, not a Blackwing, but when they succeed in resolving even one Whirlwind twice, it's almost certain game. I mean, it's really a power position, so he usually does that. I don't know if versus Frog he would do that, because it's really more complicated to, especially in game 1, to destroy his monster, to stop Black Whirlwind, but still I cannot exclude the fact that my opponent might have Black Whirlwind plus Shura in their hand, and then deliberately not doing it at this point. But still, let's see. Okay, now this is, all this playoff is about Duke Frog, how many Duke Frog in the end, but I don't complain because I have subs. So I'm going to do what I said before, the enemy controller, then attack, then I attack my opponent, and after that I will summon Subsi. If oppression is activated, I will tribute, of course, my opponent's monsters first, so it will be tributed as cost, then Subsi will be destroyed, but still it's going to be less efficient for my opponent, because once if they use oppression on Bora, on my substitute tributing Bora, they won't be able to summon back Bora with Blizzard. So it's a fair, it's kind of fair to me. But let's see if this is gonna happen, because in case none of this will happen, I will still I will have the lock. Even if I have just one Duke Frog left in the deck, I can then normal summon another one from my hand, of course in attack position, but still it's not that bad actually. So let's see, I want to make damage at this point. And of course, nothing's gonna happen. Substi. Okay. Oh, it was the first one. So they said stun, dash shot, and oppression. So they were hoping that in my previous turn I summoned this one. So they could actually bounce this back, then use it on this. But still, there was Duke Frog, so they didn't want to risk me to use. After a few turns to do the dupe. Okay, or maybe they just wanted to save the royal oppression. They didn't want to use it immediately. Of course, okay, it's fine, I guess. Now, of course, another Bora or Shura, it would be terrible. But not Sirocco Bora, because I would pay 800 to negate it, so it's not that good, but that bad either. So this is interesting. It's, I mean, I'm fairly sure they have some monster in their hand. They're not summoning. I mean, Kalut maybe, maybe Blizzard as well. But I guess that Bora and Shura would be summoned with no question. I, of course, in this turn I cannot summon it because my only way to special summon Light and Darkness Dragon would be to special summon Dupe Frog, but there is oppression, so it's not an option actually. But my opponent has quite a lot of damage at this point, and still I have an enemy controller. So it's, I mean, I'm just, I can make some pressure on my opponent in a couple of ways, but if I didn't draw Light and Darkness, I could just swap Frog and attack. I think that I will set a Dupe Frog because I want to make a Light and Darkness next turn. Of course, I could have summoned this one effect and then normal summon this, but in attack position I don't feel quite safe to do that against this deck. Also, they, as we know so far, they run Storm, MST, and at least to Dust Tornado, so 4 cards to destroy my spell and traps. Maybe they have at least one of them in their hand. Let's see. Maybe we'll see. Now this is great because I can actually summon a Light and Darkness Dragon. The worst case scenario is Solemn Judgment is activated. But in that case, he could pay for the. I mean, Darkness would summon Dupe Frog from the grave. He would pay, and he would be left with 1450 life points, and this would be game, of course. So I think that even if that's a judgment, it won't be activated. They have 5 cards to their hand, 6 with next turn, to discharge my Light and Darkness Dragon, and I think that he will be doing this some way. Maybe this is what he's preparing to do, because he's not summoning anything. And I know I have 3 Light and Darkness Dragon in my deck. Let's see. This is good, of course. I mean, if I have a prison, bottomless, whatever, it would be just to get 500 more life points, and that would be a waste. So let's see. 6 cards. Now I expect something to happen to my Light and Darkness Dragon. Keep in mind that if it is destroyed by battle, Royal Oppression cannot be activated, but it can be activated otherwise. But still, they know these 2 cards, and it's dangerous. Of course, it's not of much use. But still, if they had Dad and wanted to summon some at some point, this is bad for him to have activated it at this point. So they can activate. I cannot activate Royal Oppression because Light and Darkness is chain locking this monster. I mean, this is chaining 1, then Light and Darkness is chaining 2, mandatory. And so me as player cannot activate this one. This is, I mean, good for my opponent because I would have paid to destroy this one. But this is how it works, actually. So, what's gonna happen is setting 2 more new cards. I mean, this is interesting because with a chain like a chain containing Prison or Mirror Force, he could destroy this one by battle, and in case of Mirror Force, he could pay 800 to negate the summon. The strange thing is that he used Storm. I mean, I understand this one because, I mean, just to... with Oppression was not of any use, but in this case, I mean, even negating once more, it's not actually good versus, I mean, if you have a chainable prison. But what has to be noticed about this situation is that if I attack and anything is activated, even an MST on Oppression, for example, that would negate it, and these two monsters would be destroyed, both each other. Also, if they have a Kalut in their hand, it would be the same, but Kalut is less chainable, except with other Kalut, of course. But even in that case, he wouldn't have activated EV Storm, so there is something I'm actually missing, I guess. Okay, this is actually good, maybe the best one, because this allow me to do one important thing, especially in this situation, because okay, I could summon triple, but I don't see the point. I mean, I could summon Caius, but with Icarus or anything, I would lose the board, and that would be terrible. But one interesting thing that I can do is summoning Armetsi Hunter to attack this monster. So if something is activated, even Kalut, I mean, just one thing on the chain, it would affect the Light and Darkness Dragon's attack, but not the Hunter. And then if the attack goes on, this would be destroyed, inflicting 500, and even if Light and Darkness is discharged, it would have 800, so 13, it would be left with 400. But still, at this point, I don't fully understand the previous turn move of my opponent, but I think they didn't see this one coming, so I think that it's good anyway. Of course, I'm not using any of its effect, I think. Prison and it's changing one. I mean, maybe this was for lab, but so it isn't. Not this. Oh, Icarus attack. Of course, okay. It costed. It is only monster on the field. These are both destroyed. Of course, I activate the effect, but Royal Oppression can actually negate it. But still, they have 900. I have Swap from Denoit, and I also have Caius. I don't know his set card, but that man must not be something useful, maybe a Dust Tornado, so I don't even feel tempted by setting this one. And I mean, I don't think they can somehow OTK, so I will just pass. Okay, this is good. Let's see what they had. Double bottomless trapple. I mean, double. Okay, this was Dust Tornado. When I summon the Light and Darkness, I mean, they have to be... Okay, don't know. Maybe something could have happened, maybe not, I don't know. No, I know that I mean... no, I don't know about this. No, it's just, I mean, kind of unlucky at this point. Yes, there's nothing we could actually do. Now, what did I side? Side in, side out. I don't remember everything, but of course, I should not be seeing this hand. But of course, I have left this one because of Dyna, mostly. I guess maybe one, not two. Also, I have put some trap cards because I want to be active during my opponent's turn. And I think that's pretty much everything. Of course, Hydra is really good in this matchup. So I think that I'm gonna use it. I mean, usually in the side deck, one or two, depending on the what I see about my opponent. So just one. Maybe, I mean, I don't know, maybe another dash shot, maybe not. This is not a great end. Even with the 6th card, I really hoped in a frog, because I really need frog to start with this deck. It's not bad, because I can can buy some time with Solex Ryza. I wouldn't hope to do Solex Sidra, except in extreme circumstances. This Sea Hunter is without effect at this point, but I could make a sense out of it just by someone attacking and hope something is activated. Of course, if they don't activate anything on this summon attack, next turn I could face the Sirocco. But also, if my opponent actually activates something on this one, it's very unlikely to have the Sirocco, I believe, unless they fear AOI, for example. So let's see. I should actually see. Okay, I'm fine with this. Better on this than other cards. On Trap Stun, well, that's gonna be helpful maybe next turn. But also, if in case my opponent wants to swarm, I don't know, many monsters to inflict a lot of damage, this is going to keep in. I mean, they know I run Torrential Tribute and Mirror Force, so they could play around it. Okay, once again, Bora, the probe. No card is chain. Okay, I was hoping for a frog, because I could have done Sidra plus frog, I mean, set it on, or summoning Swap Frog, for example. But this is not the case. I see two options: Solex Ryza or Sidra Attack. The problem with Sidra Attack is there is a third option, of course, which is a Sidra Ryza. This would be useful unless my opponent has pulling the rug. In that case, I wouldn't be able to chain Trap Stun, so I would lose 2 cards and my opponent just 1, and next turn I could make more damage. And I would have to wait my next turn to Solex Ryza, and that's terrible. I mean, Sidra Attack would be fine, but with a Kalut I would take 1000 damage, so 53. And next turn, at least this 1 plus more, because I wouldn't be able to Solex in main phase 2 this turn. So I would have to wait my next turn. And that's not a good solution. Soul Ryza is fine, unless my opponent has Igorous Attack. And it does. So I can, negate it eventually, but nothing good now. Okay, I think that even if they had Blizzard, they wouldn't do it at this point, because of course Goyo would be strong Goyo or Armored Wing, but still Gorse would be a problem, and it's kind of a waste of resources. Now he just have to press for damage and see what's my response. So it's not actually a probe, this one, because attacking this monster is really dangerous, because of with Kalut you would defend summon. Now this is what I hoped for previous turn. Sidra plus Dupe, I could attack and stuff. Even with a Kalut I could set this one, and if in previous turn I would have set this one, then if they have Kalut, sure it's not going to do it, but these last turn things. So I can see there are Rise. I think I don't want to risk a Kalut. I mean, if I use Rise at this point, next turn my opponent can actually attack with Shura and use Kalut, but still, as he is going to do during his own turn, I will get less damage. I mean, I wouldn't have Shura attacking, I mean the damage from attacking Shura plus the direct attack, but just the attack and damage. Now I mean, I could have set this one, actually. I mean, unless they don't actually have Kalut, but they set something like value and I cross attack at this point, it would be a problem. If I had set this one, but still, maybe it was better. And of course, it is Kalut. Value. This means this can mean a lot of things. One of these, the main thing is virus, because you can Catastore and then let's see, okay, it's not Magical Android, it's Catastore, so one of those two might be virus actually. My body is good, usually, especially against virus, but in this situation it's not great. If I select on a virus, I will get I mean, Duke Frog destroyed. That's not good because it's my only way to arrive to frogs. And also I would be in a terrible situation because you can attack with anything knowing what I have, and it's even terrible. So I can set Duke Frog and hope they don't have an aggressive hand, maybe just Catastore and other stuff like Kalut in hand or things like that. It's kind of a desperate situation. I'm setting this one. I mean, it's not great, it's kind of risky too, but if, they summon dead, maybe, I mean, in that case it would be Blizzard plus dead, so it's, I mean, even if they try to destroy this one first and the changes, they couldn't have game anyway, because I would be with 1400 left. And but I mean, if they attack, for example, with another monster and they do virus, I can negate it. But when this is face up, but still, it's really a tough situation. Actually, I could have summoned this one in attack position so that if they do virus, I can chain it. Because of course, Catastore doesn't make any damage on this one. But still, they would have tried to chain the virus and stuff like that, or just attack with a Blackwing on, or maybe even a Dyna on the Duke Frog and have the game. They do have the Blizzard, of course. It's 3 dark in the grave. Okay, there is that as well. Okay, this is gone. Let's see, that was not gonna help. But maybe if Dupe resolved, that would have been another card. Now I think I am putting, I mean, I don't remember how many AOI I had in my previous game, but now I am quite sure I have 3, because I start and I want that kind of advantage versus this deck, because Blackwing is a deck which combines cards, usually monsters like Sirocco, Bora, Kalut, Shura, but also cards, trap cards like Acrostack or Virus. So I do want to see the hand and maybe disrupt this strategy. This is kind of a good hand. I mean, it's most game 1 hand, an excellent hand in game 1, in game 3 maybe. I don't think they play Kaiku, because summoning Swap Frog to send a 3-ball and then bounce it, it's vulnerable to Kaiku. If it's a DD Crow, it doesn't change actually. But still, it's always Blackwing, so they might have whirlwind and set a lot of cards. So I think that I am going to set MST. Because if my opponent doesn't, if I set something, in this case MST, my opponent might want not to set anything, so that my Treeborn is not going to be summoned. But in that case, I have plan B, which is Solex plus Substi, in case my opponent summon something. And at that point, I would do the lock with the MST set. At that point, next turn, next turn, my opponent would use one of their traps to destroy the lock, which is which can be Agrostack or the virus, and then they can hope to hit it with the MST in the end phase, in case, it's only one. If it's more than one, depends. And at that point, as they had to use a monster, maybe I set a monster, Ryza would make the damage with the dupe block, and eventually I could also bounce Ryza by discarding this one, and so it could be that kind of game when I lock and Ryza the whole situation. Let's see if that's going to happen. I would send in Tribble, setting MST, and let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, Dina. This is, I kind of expected this. I always expect my opponent to summon this one at some point of the game. They said nothing. This is pretty typical of Blackwing versus Frog, because they don't want any Solex plus Monarch, so they are going to do this one. But still, I think I'm in a pretty solid situation, because I can set this one, Substi, and if my opponent summon a monster attack, it depends on what happens. If it's Shura and use Scarlet, of course they're not going to summon the monster because of Dyna. Substi would be destroyed, but still at that point I would have two cards, so Solex Ryza would actually work. And after that I could special summon Swap Frog and use AOI, and that would be good as well. But if they don't, if they summon something, attack on Substi and not destroy it, they would set some cards, of course. During the end phase I could destroy one of them, and then Solex Ryza and see we'll see what could happen. Okay, no response. He's not going to attack. They don't have Scarlet, I guess. I just roll the die and see what's gonna happen. Okay. Now I have a feeling I haven't checked one thing that sometimes I do. Sometimes players set, if they have cards like Virus or Icarus Attack, they set it right down the monsters. For example, if I set AOI on this one, so that when I tribute, it's right next to it. In that case, as I feared most an Icarus Attack, I could have not rolled the dice, but hit just one card. I don't know if that's Icarus Attack, Virus, or anything else. Why I'm saying Virus? Because if they have Kalut, they can activate it after Kalut is resolved, because the boost lasts until the end of the turn, not of the damage step. So that can be really tricky. Let's see my first card, and then my next card. Okay, this is good actually, but not in this turn, because I want to Solex that Dyna and then summon Ryza on this one. At that point, if they chain Icarus Attack, it's terrible for me. Just like in the previous game, actually. Okay, the terrible thing happened. Now, what gonna do now? At this point I thought quite a bit, because I don't know, I had this feeling. I have card advantage, I also have tribune, which can be considered a +1 from the grave each turn. I mean, actually it's not true card advantage, because I started and it's going to draw 4, so it's kind of a, I mean, just the tribune is advantage, but kind of the same name of cards. But there is a problem. At this point, usually my opponent summon the second Dyna for some reason. I mean, they set 2 of them, they draw 2 of them, and this is the right spot to summon the second one. Also because the first one was actually summoned so easily. I mean, with one set card from my own. It could be like, I mean, this is one, the probe also, but I had this feeling they had Dyna. I cannot get rid of Dyna with these cards. I mean, I can by doing one extreme move, by using these 3 cards. If I use these 3 cards, I can get rid of Dyna, not the other 3 cards, because they're going to draw 1. And I will be left with just Substitute and all the dupe in the deck, so I could actually do the lock next turn, potentially, to stall, and at some point to draw more Monarch, because I have used just 1. I think this is what I'm going to do, even if it's kind of an extreme move. Nice. So, Sirocco is totally useless, they don't even have value, so not a concern. Now, Blizzard is a concern, because they can summon Armorwing, Goyo, or Brionac, and in that case, that could actually pressure me. I mean, only Brionac can undo the lock, but still, of course with the cost of 1 or 2 cards, but still not great. Dyna is a problem, because I mean, if I don't discard it, for example, discard this one, is going to pressure with Dyna. I can set this one, but still, as they have Torrential, I don't see an easy way out. If then I draw Monarch, then my opponent can do anything else. Like me, even just attacking with Ashura they have drawn, and I am with no cards left. So if I discard Dyna, I will get some damage from whatever they summon with Blizzard, and then they will end the turn with the monster plus a Torrential. If I do the lock, or if I try and he uses Torrential, they will be left with only Sirocco in their hand. That's good to me, because as long as I don't have any monster, that's not useful at all. And I think 2 Dyna would be gone, so I can, for some turn, for example, do them just summon the tribune. So it's, I mean, it will be tough, but not that terrible. Also, if they, depending on the exact moment they use Torrential, I might actually resolve at least 1 dupe. So I would have Tribune to attack. So it's Tribune. Swap Frog to attack and bounce every turn. So it's not so bad. Dyna can be discarded. I mean, I thought a lot on this. Okay, he attacked with just that in case of course. Course would be terrible for him, especially once I know his end, and I would not be summoning monster but just attacking. So that would quite the right move, I guess. And of course I know all of the... Okay. This is excellent. Maybe an MST would have done the same, but I've used it already, so it's really great. So I storm and block, and this is going to buy me sometimes fast forward, of course. I had still the 3 Duke Frog. I don't think they run any soul release, so I sent both of my tribal, not draw it. They have Sirocco and one new card in their hand. But still, I mean, this shouldn't be a Caius, so it's hard to destroy this lock. Okay, a Blizzard would have been incredible because of Dankarmeddragon, but still, this is good. This is what I hope for. I mean, Caius Horizon may be better, except for Gorse in case. But still, this is good because I actually can summon it. Now, what's the only bad scenario for me that could actually happen? Kalut. Because if they throw into Kalut right this turn, these two monsters will be destroyed, both of them, because this negates Kalut, but then they have the same attack, and I summon Ryza back. Now, of course, once I tribute Duke Frog, I mean, for any as cost for game mechanics, like in this case for tribute summon, it misses the timing. So we all knew that this already. What it is to what I want to remind is that if Duke Frog is destroyed by Light and Darkness effect, it will miss the timing as well, because after the destruction there is a summoning, and this means that it misses the timing. But still, I would be attacking with Ryza. He would have just a Sirocco plus the top deck card. The top deck card is, I mean, the best is one of these two Blizzard. And if in this scenario, when they use Kalut, they would have 4 monsters, because these are 4 dark monsters. One would be Kalut, and one would be Dankarmed. This means that Dad would not be a good top deck. What else? Brain Control would not be enough, because Sirocco plus Brain on Ryza would be for 4400. And he would give me back the monster, or in the other combination, he would have to Brain and then tribute, but even in the case, it would not be a good position for him. So I think that I'm going to risk it. Okay. And I'm pressuring. I could summon Duke Frog, I don't see why, maybe a Duke Frog in defense position, but still, with a bar I would deal a lot of damage and stuff. I mean, in this case, he could, with a bar I would destroy this, make a little less damage. I wouldn't get the card from Duke Frog, but still, now I'm dealing more than a few damage, so I think this is the right choice. What are they going to do? Okay, Blizzard. We need 2 Blizzard left in 31 cards, and of course, but still, it's not lost. Goyo, of course, is the best choice. Now, in 22 cards, I have, let's see, 3 Caius and 2 Ryza. So 5 cards. Let's see if I'm lucky enough. Of course, at this point, this was huge, but still, not so unlikely. I mean, enemy controller and stuff like that would have just bought me some time. This one fixes the situation, of course, and that's great. Now, Sirocco plus 1. Okay, 1 card. At this point, what can they draw? They can draw another Tatami, the Virus, Icarus, but also Mirror Force. This Torrential is gone. Bottomless, Suppression, many cards, not very useful. I have this Trap Stun. I'm not going to summon Treeborn because of Shura, Bor and stuff. So I think that I will just attack and then set trap stun. Even if I get a prison or a mirror force in this turn, Sirocco would be useless. So I'm not that worried about that. If they have something like a mirror force and they want to hold it, next turn I have trap stun. So I think I'm not so I think I'm in a pretty good position. I also have an advantage of life points. They set 1. I mean, I don't know if that at this point in the real game I didn't know if that was Sirocco or anything else. Just start attack. If that's an Icarus attack, I can negate it and then attack directly. So I'm not actually scared. Okay. Now, last Blizzard or, I don't know, some trap cards. Now I'm thinking about Torrential, but it would not be good at all, because if next turn, let's say that my opponent doesn't set that Sirocco, maybe set another card, I could trap stun it, use trap stun in standby phase, summon Tribune, and if I have a Monarch, I tribute and I go for game with 40 damage. But of course, if my opponent set a monster, I will not do this, because if they chain Icarus attack to my stun, that will resolve and I would be left with nothing. So of course I'm not setting Torrential, but still many scenarios are good for me. Okay, they set 1, the new card, and Sirocco, because I knew it's the only monster. Now, let's see, I'm not scared by his trap cards. Yeah, I want to activate a trap stun as soon as possible, but if I do it in this standby phase and I get Torrential, of course I will discard this next turn with AOI, unless it is destroyed in end phase with dust or whatever. But I don't want to rush in something like that. So I will just attack, see what's gonna happen. There is actually an Icarus attack, which I can negate. Now at 100, and I'm thinking about setting something again. It's the same scenario, only Blizzard can actually save him. And also I want to use AOI next turn, so I'm not setting anything. GG. Let's see. Oh, sorry, judgment. Okay. So let's think about what happened. I mean, this other one was okay, pulling the rug, of course. I mean, in game 1, I rush into some damage with enemy controller and stuff, even if I got a top dash shoot quite soon. Then I could my strategy was not disrupted. It was just good. I mean, you could achieve the results, so it was with Light and Darkness especially. And that was game 1. Game 2, I had no frogs. I could have done something different, I guess. But still, I don't think that I was gonna win anyway, because they actually had Karut, so that Sidra was not going so far. And that was. So, actually, game 3 was... I mean, it was all about that... AOI that I did with -3, but by knowing my opponent cards and discarding AOI, by discarding the second Dyna, I could actually win the game. I mean, many turns later, but I could do that. Especially with cards like Trap Stun, and two trap cards I actually used, but still they were enough. Of course, there was this lucky Heavy Storm, and then Substi. I mean, I chose to leave Substi in my hand, but this one helps making it really effective. So once all the frogs were in the grave, I draw 1 and 2, 3. No, this was already in the grave. Just 1 and 2 tribute monster, but that was enough, especially because Trap Stun helped me this one to last 1 more turn, and that's it. Again, thanks you for watching.